What is going on?
Not too much.
Merry
Just
Christmas, all, and welcome to Jodi Day. No, actually, like my computer is like all kinds of freaking
oh,
out. But okay, cool. We're live. We're going. Hey, Mo, welcome.
wait, you got to do the Lego Van Gogh. I am so jealous, but
I know that was an awesome build.
I've got the not Lego Winnebago to put together from Spaceballs. So
Nice. Wait, the not Lego?
it's from Timu. So it's
Okay.
not Lego.
All right.
It's
Fair
like
enough. I was wondering what you
Lego
were
with a
talking about.
J
Yeah, Lego
and a
with the J.
U and a Y.
Oh my God. Okay, this is like midway through the credits. Sorry, I'm so distracted. Midway through the credits, all of a sudden my computer just went like black. It didn't shut down, but it went black, and I was trying to figure out what in the world is going on. So I am terribly distracted. But welcome, Mo. We're gonna have to have you on for a Lego build, I think, one of these days.
Sounds
Maybe
good.
March or April.
Sounds good. By then I should have at least my goal table. I'm 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 making my own space and I'm getting sharks with lasers because I'm about done with people.
I've been done with people for a while, but I am very happy that you are here and that you don't consider me people. So that's good.
Well, it's more my children people barging in to ask me ridiculous things when it's
I was gonna say, do we consider Jodi people as well?
mm, is she being ridiculous? Never mind. That's a trick question because she always is.
Right? She is always ridiculous. Now, just so you guys are caught up on where we are, let's see. Okay, I have my chat up. No, I have Nicholas's stream up. I got to pull my stream up. We just finished cross examination from the Angry Little Elf. By the way, let me point out the awesome. the Angry Little Elf just finished his cross examination, and now we are on to redirect today. So we are going to get into redirect today. I have a feeling she's not going to be able to recover as well as she would probably hope that she will. So where's my man Nicholas? Nicholas is not feeling well. He streamed yesterday and then he kind of took a nap. So
yeah, whatever's going around, it just sticks with you like forever. But the first week you have it, it's just, ugh.
Yeah. See, here's our little angry little elf on the shelf.
Oh,
these are all
it's a
from
Santa narc.
It's a Santa
That's what I
narc.
call those.
Yeah, he's a little Santa. Well, I mean, does he not look like a Santa narc? I mean, come on.
A Santa snitch. I try to tell my kids, why do you want a Santa snitch? But we have 2 Santa snitches, so no one listens to me.
Farrell made those. What's a weekend project for Farrell? He got a man cold. He's got a man cold. He caught it from the Young Thug trial.
Yeah, so you will catch a lot from that.
By the way, this is Vielhammer Media's remastered version of the Jodi Arias-trial, day 26. His channel is linked in the description below. I highly recommend you guys go check it out because he's got wonderful content, a bunch of different trials where he has fixed the audio so we can actually like hear it and it sounds good. So that's Vielhammer is the source that we're using. We started using him about 3 months ago now, and it's been so much better. I have 5 gallons. Oh, why did I pull that up? Okay. All right, let's get going. Vielhammer Media. He makes music and such as well, from what I understand.
Good morning.
I like how they continue to just look unimpressed.
Oh
my God. What the hell happened to this man? That is the most basic suit I have ever seen him wear.
I know. He's always in flashy
Did someone
show colors.
die?
He's usually got like a purple tie and a pink shirt or
with like
or something extraordinary.
Crushed Smurfs all over it and glitter. And flop sweat.
Yes, don't forget to smash that like button. I also had this running on Rumble actually today too. But I got to pull up my Rumble stream. When everything went down, I sort of shut down everything but StreamYard. What?
Is this where he starts to hit rock bottom?
Wait, what just happened? Oh my god.
I didn't touch a button.
No, it's me. What is going on? I think Salvador last night must have gotten into something else. What just happened? So we have, let's see, somebody deleted my YouTube stream from yesterday. Then somebody ended the stream yesterday. And now I can't get a freaking Jodi stream to go. Salvador. Okay, we're back up. Jeez. All right, let's keep going.
You were asked several questions about taking personal responsibility.
You should be, sir. You should be.
Blamed everyone else. Do you remember that line of questioning at various points last week?
Yes.
Good afternoon.
In that regard,
Oh, they're matching.
questions.
Oh, they did that on purpose.
Were you forced to testify?
No.
When you chose to testify, did you do so with the idea that the lies you told would be called into question?
Yes.
And you chose to testify anyway.
Yeah, that's not really relevant.
Approach.
Oh God,
She's
we got a
just humbling
sidebar.
herself.
30 seconds into redirect, we get a sidebar. Yeah, you perjured yourself. Did you think you'd be called out on that? He's trying to resuscitate his client, and there's no hope of doing it. But props for the attempt.
The body is quite dead.
Yes, the body is dead and half buried in a ditch, with one leg sticking out. That's really what's going on here. Hey, Stray, welcome. Let's see. First day of redirect, and both are wearing funeral clothes. Not a good choice. Well, they're at a funeral, more or less.
You may continue.
Oh, wait, I gotta speed this up again. That's what I gotta do. 1.25. Let me know if
Now,
it's
Ms.
too
Arias,
fast. But
getting back to my question, knowing that you knew that you were going to be questioned about the lies you told, or you assumed you'd be questioned about the lies you had told throughout this process.
Don't admit that your client lied.
Yes.
Hey, Indigo.
And you chose to do it anyway. You chose to testify anyway, right?
Yes.
And in terms of admitting certain things against this claim that you didn't take any personal responsibility, I recall days ago, one of the first questions I asked you was whether or not you killed Travis Alexander on June 4th, 2008. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Solomon, he's been dressing in
your answer to
various
that question?
Yes.
variations of
Yes.
Jello mold.
He has. He's been dressing. Yes. Sequence. Sequence would have been a step up from how he normally dresses. This is a step backwards. Now, if he had dressed in a black suit, gray suit, brown suit, normal colors all the time, then fine. But he hasn't been.
Your answer was that you did, in fact, kill Travis Alexander on June 4th, 2008. Do you recall that? Telling us that?
Yes.
She misstates what she said. She killed him, but then she had but.
Mistake.
Never forget the butt, gentlemen.
You also told us why you were forced to do that, didn't you?
Yes.
And remind us, why was that?
Well, he was trying to kill me, so I was defending myself.
Lies.
Oh, try to
Did
cry.
you go
Try
to Mr.
cry.
Alexander's home on June 4th with the intent on killing him?
See, that's the appropriate point to cry. Like, I'm so upset over the situation that I had to unalive him because I was fighting for my life. That's the appropriate time to cry, right?
Yes. And had she not had she answered Keebler Elf's questions straight into the point and been like Kyle, I was defending myself. I didn't murder. I was defending myself. I acted to defend myself. And then this came out when they rehabilitated. So she hadn't spent 170 days answering with, what I meant was, and then see what had happened Kamala Harris style. then it would have come off much more genuine. But now it looks like, oh crap, I don't think anyone's believing me. Well, let me try to cry now.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. We don't have it set up yet. Solomon or Salvador was supposed to reach out to Jodi and start that line of communication, but that went as well as the end of last night's stream or midway through last night's stream. So
Well,
I'm going to have to do
be
the
fair,
reaching
he's
out.
already on the block list for how many pairs of socks he's already sent her.
That's true. All right, so I'm going to have to reach out because all of Salvador's stuff gets returned.
Stop! You cannot go out the window.
Oh, your little dog. Aren't you glad you made that decision now?
I love my dog. He's the greatest dog ever. It's just not his fault. He's not so smart because he's his own grandfather.
He doesn't understand you. You can talk bad about him in front of him. I've learned that with my dog.
Well, Wolfram is his father. We learned that in lore this this week on my channel.
Good. Happy Saturday to you, Jessica.
No, I didn't.
Did at any point
The
in
wind
time
is blowing,
during
and I
that
feel
day,
the treehouse
June 4th,
moving.
2008, did you make a conscious decision that I want to kill Travis Alexander?
No, that was never a thought.
Okay. Ms. Arias, when you began talking to counsel for the state, you were shown a couple exhibits, and I want to cover those with you.
Why did this slow down again? Something is up. I think it's on YouTube's end because I had this problem yesterday when I was trying to speed it up.
Photographs occurred showing you exhibits 452 and 453.
Yes.
And do you remember the date that the photograph took place?
May 15th, 2008.
I'm sorry, just say May 15th?
Yes, 15th.
Showing you what's been marked.
Absolutely.
Exhibit 452. If I recall correctly, that's you and your sister Angela, right?
Yes.
Without the broken finger,
And
even though there would have been a broken
That is your
finger in
hand
the picture.
around her, right?
That's right.
Okay. And in exhibit 453, got a second there. That's your hand again, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I know. I kind of want to reach out to her sister, chit chat with her sister a bit, at least Salvador.
And before we move on past this photograph, you would concede that there's no visible bend in your finger, at least in terms of any injury, correct?
Correct.
Wait, okay. So a little background here for those of you who might not know. Jodi claimed that her finger was broken or cut and healed in like a weird little funky way because of a domestic assault by Travis in January, not in May during the unaliving of Travis. Yet, so on cross-examination, the prosecutor pulled out that picture of her sister that was taken in like April and said, but your finger's not broken here. So you couldn't have broken it in January and then taken this picture in April where it's not broken. And then it's more likely that you broke it in May when you were unaliving Travis. And so rather than saying, yes, I lied to the police about that at the time, and I accidentally, I did, injure it in the unaliving of Travis, she doubled down on that and said, well, this was a sign of his abuse, which is her defense claim. Why is then her attorney on redirect saying, well, it doesn't look broken here? You're just reinforcing the prosecutor's argument, right? He just said it doesn't look, it's not broken here, right? Which is then reinforcing the prosecutor's position, not your client's position.
Because he wants to make sure we double, triple know she's a liar.
I don't know.
It's Schrodinger's murder. We have, maybe nothing's true. Your juryness, look, everything is a lie. Your whole life has been a lie. Have you ever seen that movie, The Matrix?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You're
I
in
mean,
the Matrix right now.
that's her situation here. I popped it back because I think I understand this correctly. He's trying to basically bolster the prosecution's position.
You would concede that there's no visible bend in your finger, at least in terms of any injury, correct?
Correct.
That's
Well,
yeah.
it's sort of meant.
Right. Well,
He's
going
like,
back
yeah,
to
right, okay,
452,
whatever.
it appears, I know Angela is wearing a hat, but it appears that she's
This guy,
at
like,
least a
whatever.
few inches shorter than you. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's her height.
Okay. How tall are you, Miss Arias?
I think I'm 5'5.5" or 5'6", somewhere around there.
I'm a little taller than that, so I'm going to ask Miss Wilmot to come forward. Jodi, if you could step down, please, in front of the jury.
The purposes of this, we need to have Ms. Wilmot's height and whatever it is that she's wearing. Other than that, I would object on the grounds of relevance.
He's gonna have her restage the photo. I get it.
And
Okay.
we'll just have Miss Wilmot for the record state
They
her height.
practiced this in the back.
I would say I'm 5'3", 5'4" with heels. I can't be certain. I don't know how high my heels are.
If you could, Jodi,
Take your heels off,
and
man.
Ms. Wilmot, could we see you, for lack of a better term, recreate the pose we see in Exhibit 452?
Oh, her attorney got like all scared all of a sudden.
If you could turn.
Turn to the jury. Look at that. Okay, all right. I'll give it to him. That looks very similar to the photograph, even though her finger is clearly bent and broken. When she holds it out straight, you can see like one of them is like curled up or something. Yeah, that looks very awkward.
Now, prior to,
Why am I not getting all the chat?
we talked a lot about injuries you sustained to your hands. And when you have sustained those injuries, prior to June 4th, immediately prior, I should ask, did you have suffer any injuries to either one of your hands?
Yes.
Could you tell us how those injuries occurred?
I believe it was my index finger, and I was putting away big margarita glasses at work. Stay.
When were you putting away these margarita glasses?
I believe, if I remember
That
correctly,
was
it was
a
June
stupid
1st. That's what
sustained
the
objection.
date stamp said on the photo.
Okay.
Bobby?
And what happened to your hand and where were you working?
Casa Ramos.
Okay. And how did you
Oh.
injure yourself putting away margarita glasses at Casa Ramos?
Welcome, Fluxians, Mochas. Welcome all. Welcome to Jodi Day. We are glad you are here.
I was just moving too fast, and I was a little bit clumsy, not intentionally, but I just, there's a metal shelf beneath the bar, and that's where they all sit and cool off, because when they come out of the dishwasher, they're really hot. So they have to cool off before we can put margaritas in them, or they'll crack. So I was rotating the
Not
cool ones from the
terribly
back.
angry because he is, he's right now currently getting ready for Christmas. But in addition to that, Cross has done, and now we're on redirect. So her boring ass attorney is attempting to resuscitate her testimony. And so far, we'll see how.
Sorry, we had a stick ear cut injury because, sticks are swords and
In the
why are
ear?
we safe with? Well, yeah, someone whacked.
Sticks went in the ear.
No, they just on the outside of the ear, but it was bloody, so,
Okay.
Out and putting the hot ones in the back. And as I
Was it as much blood as
reaching in
Jodi's?
with my hand, I
Jodi claims.
hit some of the metal.
No.
It peeled back to the skin. And it
well,
was
I mean, maybe.
a wound.
I do want a margarita
Did
now,
you
though.
photograph those injuries?
Yes.
And how did you do that?
Hey,
Just with my
Project
phone.
Metal Music.
Okay. Would that be the heliophone we'd been discussing earlier?
Yes.
If I may approach, Your Honor. Sir, I want to show you what's been marked as exhibits 506 and 507, respectively. Could you take a look at both those exhibits and see if you recognize those as the photographs you took?
Yes. I guess the date would have been the 31st of May instead.
Okay. I'm going to move to admit exhibits 506 and 507.
So
So
now are
why
we
weren't
trying
these?
Just the relevance, issue interest to the right hand.
Now are we trying to
Oh my-
establish that she didn't break her finger at unaliving him? Now she broke it with margaritas, so it wasn't abuse. Now it's
Well,
a
that-
margarita's fault.
That was her original testimony. I thought it was the like abuse, but now it's the margarita's fault. And did you catch that? His objection was that these are injuries to her right hand, not her left hand.
Oh,
So he's trying to introduce photographs of injuries to her right hand. All right, let's see where this
okay,
goes.
McCain and Biden, put the cast on your fucking right leg, you asshole.
Your approach?
Just
May
kidding.
approach.
Oh my God. This is sidebar number 3 in
I'm getting a drink.
the last 12 minutes.
And Jodi, why before?
Objection overruled. Exhibits 506 and 507 are admitted.
Oh, they're going to admit the right-handed photo injuries, whatever.
And Jodi, why before? Or while those are being marked, into
Angry Elf
evidence,
is like, why the hell?
could you describe for us why you chose to take these photographs?
Yes,
I love
after my boss gave me a big Band-Aid to cover it because it kind of covered a larger surface area. And so I went home, took a shower, and then after that, I peeled it back just to check on it, and it was just kind of gnarly. So it was like a trophy picture, kind of. I was gonna send it to
Gnarly.
some friends, say, look what I did at
Kinda
work.
gnarly.
I mean, it sounds strange seeing it post June 4th, but before that, it didn't seem like a big deal.
Don't forget
I
to hit
just-
the like
I sent
button.
it to a few friends to say, look what happened.
Also, Nick and I, well, Nick's not here, but Nick and I are dual streaming this. His stream is pinned at the top of my chat. My stream is pinned at the top of his chat. Wow. We got some background going on. What is that? Anyways, you can go
Alright.
back and forth and like both of our streams, but like me more. And that would be awesome.
Yes.
This is crazy kind of thing.
Okay.
She's trying to explain how she got the injury, not trying to unalive Travis, not with the big sharp knife.
Showing you what's been marked as exhibit 506.
Yeah, over explaining is lying ass off. I agree. Ooh,
That's one of the cuts you sustained to your hand.
Yeah, the fold of the skin is.
that is
back
the
over
right hand.
Injury.
And can you tell from this exhibit, is this?
That
your
is the
or
right
left
hand.
That would be my right
When I
hand.
stab all my other
Oh, she
boyfriends,
just-
they're all alive.
She just said that it's her right hand, but her current injury is to her left hand. To a different hand. Yeah.
And exhibit 507, is that a photograph of a different injury or the same injury?
The same one, different angle.
Again,
And we're
right
talking
hand.
about your right index finger as well, correct?
Correct.
Now, Ms. Arias, you had told us that these injuries occurred on the 31st of May, is that?
It would have been the 31st or the 1st. I'm not sure if the timestamp on that is also Greenwich time or if it's,
Well, she's
Pacific
definitely not
Standard
good
Time.
with her right from her left.
But
Yeah,
given that you
working with her
were
hands is not
serving
going to be our
margarita,
future.
would
Salvador,
it
are
be
you
safe to
paying
assume
attention?
you weren't working the breakfast shift?
You might not want
That's
her
right.
working with her
Okay.
hands.
So it would have either been the evening
She
of the
might not
31st.
be a
or the
hand
evening of the
worker
1st when
if
these
you
injuries-
understand
is
my
that correct?
drift.
yes, that's correct.
And these injuries we just saw in exhibits 506 and 507, have they healed by the time you went to Utah on
Is
June
it possible
5th?
that Jodi is
I
an
think-
unreliable
I think it
narrator?
had healed mostly.
Her and the
Do you recall if
Joker.
you still had bandages on your hand?
I don't actually recall. I know I eventually got bandages on my hand, but I don't remember if I still had one from the index finger or not, or I don't remember.
Okay. Now, before we get too far off the subject of hand injuries in Utah, you said that you weren't sure if you had bandages on those. Now, these injuries on your right hand, do you recall if you had any other injuries
He's
to
doing a
your hand
stellar job, Sal.
In Utah,
in Utah?
I did. I had Band-Aids on my right hand, and I don't think it was the index finger. I think they were other fingers. I don't remember, but I know I had Band-Aids on my right hand.
So I will say, I remember once for Mother's Day, my brother and I decided we were going to clean the entire house. And we were doing we were cleaning everything top to bottom while my mom was out. And we were washing dishes. And my brother was washing a glass, like hand washing it. And it broke. And he cut himself like all the way across the hand. And so he wrapped it with like a whole roll of paper towel. And then as we, under the pool of blood on the kitchen floor and dripping out all the way to the front door, went to the ER. And we're there for like 45 minutes or so. And this is before cell phones. So we didn't call anybody. I just took him there. He was 15. I was 16. I had my driver's license. And my mom showed up. So she had gone home. We tried to do this nice thing. She sees blood all over the kitchen, a trail of blood down the carpet to the front door, down the sidewalk, and immediately goes to the ER, and where she finds us. So yes, you can cut your hand on glass. Yeah, that's possible. Like
or when you're, stabbing without a, guard.
Yeah, right. Yeah, when you're stabbing. No. Yeah, stabby. We could do stabby. Someone without a guard. Yeah, without a blade guard. Let's see here. You gave up on her when you saw her nudes. Yeah, that just made Salvador double down.
I don't know. It was
Now,
the
the Band-Aids on your right
alien
hand, you said
around
it may not
the
have been-
nipular area that brought her back for me. It rehabilitated her for me. In the Discord, when someone put the alien saucer around the nipular area, I think early on in the Discord.
Damn, y'all be giving me a workout with these held comments. Oh, wait. I have held comments?
Yeah, I've been going through and making sure I'm looking at them and making sure they're okay to go, but I know our chat. Most of them are okay to go.
No, just to prove everything. Why are comments being held? I don't like that. I got to fix that. Salvador, what'd you do on the back end of my YouTube?
Were these injuries caused by the same incident at Casa Ramos, or were they caused by something else?
Something else.
Okay, and what was that?
It was broken glass. I dropped one of Travis's glasses when I was downstairs when I arrived the morning of June 4th. We were getting water he has a cold water dispenser on his fridge. So I was getting water and I dropped one, and I was cleaning up the glass because I thought, I'm going to clean up glass at work and it's not something I'm uncomfortable with. So I guess I was being too casual and careless, and I cut my fingers.
And you have stated to us,
Hey, Malcolm,
that those injuries were on your right hand.
That's correct.
How are you so confident of that?
That's what I remember pretty clearly.
well, the photograph is clearly a right hand.
As it relates to your left hand, do you recall having injuries on your left hand when you were in Utah?
I hear
don't
your kids
recall
running around.
One way or another. I definitely don't remember an injury. I'm not saying there wasn't, but
Just
I don't
letting you
remember
know.
one.
Would it be fair to say that whatever injuries you had on your hand when you arrived in Utah weren't your primary focus?
That is
That would be fair to say.
kind of.
How many classes does she
Now, we heard
drop? I mean,
about-
does she have the palsy?
Yeah, I know, right? She drops so often, or she injures herself a lot, and she gets lost, and she breaks things, and she's a lot like my teenager in so many
some
ways.
of the injuries to your hand, we heard about the struggle or fight you had with Mr. Alexander on June 4th. Did you have any other injuries visible when you went to Utah?
As far as visible, not that I'm aware of. I had other injuries, but I think they were covered with clothing.
Are you telling us then that you had to make effort to make sure these injuries were covered?
No, I think it was just like I had injuries on my feet and my ankles. And I think just because I was wearing socks and shoes, they weren't visible.
Okay. Now
It's
this
so windy.
injury again, maybe you could be so kind as to hold up and show us your broken finger again as you did on direct.
Oh,
Your finger? No,
regular
this
or-
way, this way, so it's visible.
like this?
Okay. When did that injury occur?
January 22nd, 2008.
Now, you were asked, and that is an injury you incurred when you testified to having received when Mr. Alexander was kicking you in the ribs and he ended up kicking your hand, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. You were asked about any medical attention that you might have sought for that. And you said something to the
Wait, what?
effect of you didn't seek any professional medical attention. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Did you receive anything that could be considered quote unquote medical attention? Did you bandage it? Could you just kind of explain
High
that to us?
flux.
Yes, we didn't bandage it because there was no broken skin, but after Travis calmed down and apologized, he made a splint for it, and I just thought that was really nice because he got
He broke
really
it,
angry
but
and then
made a
was very
split.
ashamed.
The question, what medical treatment?
It just didn't even wait for the
how did
full
you feel
objection.
about,
She's like, yeah. sustained.
Travis making this? You said Travis made the splint for you. How did you feel about him making that?
Objection, you know, so we're asked for feelings by the state.
Shut up,
Wait.
little elf. What's
Yeah.
that?
So she got kicked in the rib by a grown man who weighs approximately 200 pounds at the time, correct? I'm guessing he was wearing shoes, allegedly, according to her.
Yes.
I mean, she was going to have either a bruised ribs or cracked ribs, possibly even fractured ribs, allegedly, if this story is to be believed. She would require medical attention.
Yes. Well, she said with that particular thing that she cut her finger as opposed to it being like, beaten or sat on or broken in some other way like that it was cut. Now, what the state alleges is that she actually cut her finger. She cut like the tendons in her finger when she was unaliving Travis, and she didn't seek medical treatment. And that it kind of healed in a weird way, like super short, and that's why her finger sticks like that.
Well, yeah.
And that's consistent, I believe, with the boyfriend that she went to visit immediately after unaliving Travis. She went to one of her, one in the waiting wings kind of boys that she had. And I
Yeah,
believe he talked about her having an injury.
that was the one she adjusted, wasn't
Yes.
it?
Yes.
That poor gentleman. He needs we need to
He
send
had
him like a muffin
no
back.
clue who was in his house.
No, actually, the person we need to send a muffin basket to is this poor court reporter who had to hear all these unholy things because the levels of red that this man turned.
Oh, all the peen talk, all the
Like,
we'll
and
say
so the
completion
Astroglide.
talk and the various locations of the completions.
And so
Throwing
the rear
candy.
angular stuff when you were talking about the tying up and the bondage and the, and you can just steadily see the court reporter like,
You got to get that after stabby D, right? Well, ladies, I mean, can we confirm that, ladies, in the chat? Is that a necessary, the after stabbing D? I feel like it might be. Oh, the
I
completion.
can't even say the
talk.
line with honesty. All my exes are alive.
Yeah, right. This
How did you feel about him making
That's not
that?
even fun. That
Objection,
is a
you know,
funny
so
joke.
we're asked for feelings by the state.
Approach, please.
Oh God, more approaching. This is 4 or 5. I've lost count. We're only 22
So far,
minutes
he's not
into this.
making me
You
think that
just were
she's more
telling us,
trustworthy.
Mr.
He's struggling to get some momentum going because every time he tries, they stop and go sidebar.
Well, when you're fluffy, it's like dwarves in the Lord of the Rings. We're long distance runners, but we're not known sprinters.
Alexander broke your finger, that you didn't receive any professional medical treatment for it, because Mr. Alexander made a splint for you. Is that right?
Yes.
And how did you feel about him making that for you?
It sounds kind of weird, but it was kind of endearing because he was very tender with it. He was being very careful, and he got a bag of ice and crushed it, and we put ice on it. And so he just did what he could to right what he had wronged, I guess you could say.
I feel like
that
she
matter.
might have some
a lot.
bipolar,
And you found
and
that,
she's
and that
projecting
was
that
enough
on others.
for you to perceive it as endearing, is that right?
Yes, the moment was endearing. It seemed very
I'm
tender.
almost
He
wondering if
was
she
very
did this
sincere,
to
and
him.
I mean,
If
when I got
she
home, I took it off and
inflicted
he
these
made another one
injuries
for
on
me.
him and he never said
Later.
anything because he's a
At the
man.
moment when he made it, he was just very
That's
gentle.
very possible,
with it.
actually.
I think she's the
During
OG.
the time you spent
Shit.
answering Mr.
Blue ship.
Martinez's questions, you're talking about how great it was for him to make this splint for you. We also saw some journal entries and text messages and things that
I think she read in a book somewhere about domestic assaults and what it looks like and why women stay. And this whole like, oh, well, he was sweet to me after is something like a lot of women talk about. And that's why she came up with the story. She'd be lying.
That or she read a bunch of Nora Roberts books and Danielle Steele and she
Borderline personality disorder, probably, what is it? Hysterectomy disorder, whatever it's called that Amber Turd has.
it's histrionic.
Histrionic, yeah. Histrionic, hysterectomy, whatever.
talked
It's
about,
not the
or
same
in which
thing,
you
just
praised
about.
Travis. Do you remember seeing those throughout the
Yes.
course of okay. I want to ask you about a few of those, Ms. Arias.
Histrionic, yes. Narcissism, histrionic, borderline personality disorder. She's got a combination of things.
Okay, can we see if we can get an interview with his sisters?
Wait.
Just to see if the sister has the epic queen of all the
And
most
occasionally
awesome
mad
bitch
and
faces
I don't-
ever.
Feelings?
Saw
I'm just
inside,
asking for a
and
friend
I
'cause
could
that is the
realize that
most
I saw
awesome.
my potential.
Oh, I went too far. Sorry.
About
I'm sorry, Mo. I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to find the time code that
Oh,
Vielhammer had put in
well,
there.
I was asking if we could try to get my favorite of Travis's sister, the most awesome winner of,
Oh,
I think,
Skeletor?
no, she is the queen of the resting petty face. Like she will.
The other
call-
sister? You want to get an interview with the other sister?
I want to get resting sea face
Okay.
because she is holding. If she could launch her 97-pound body over that
Oh, we're talking about the
Bayless
same ones. That's Skeletor.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
just
we
call
wanna interview
her resting
Skeletor.
petty face, and I'm just saying she would launch herself subsonic speed straight through Jodi if she could.
Maybe
She
don't
has
call her Skeletor if you want to interview with her. You know, I've
That's-
said some things about some people, and I still get the interview, so I'm okay.
that's why I said she has the resting petty face, but you need it for her because this woman is all the
She has
petty.
to admit what she looks like in this trial, right? I mean, otherwise
Well,
she's
hell-
not going to come on for an interview anyways.
In all fairness, the absolute contempt, disgust, and utter middle fingers, double deuces erect the entire time I would have if someone did this to my brother and then tried to pull this bullshit. The entire time it would be deuces blazing like this, possibly different wigs and mullets every day with like stupid t-shirts defaming them if I could possibly get away with it.
Well, I don't expect her not to be not angry, right? But
Yeah.
she has a look about her. I'll just say that.
Well, I am just saying the levels of petty to which I would descend would be legendary and possibly Bread and Circus's level of Roman ridiculousness.
No, I'm right there with you. And you know what? Honestly, I don't know if I'd sit through it all. They sat through almost every day.
Oh no, yeah,
I don't know if I
would
would.
have to leave.
Yeah.
On the autopsy stuff, I would have to.
we were talking about
Oh, someone asked where your
some of the things you had told us
where your joint
during
and other
cross-examination, some of the things you've been shown
accessories are
about
with your hat.
how great a guy you thought Travis was.
Your hat. You need accessories with
I
your
want to
hat.
show
You need
you
like a
what's been marked as Exhibit
fit
484.
or tall boy or something. I forget what the chat was.
Okay.
It was earlier.
Oh, well, you guys, so here's the deal. I had for
You see that?
years and years
Yes.
a nibbler hat.
He said, Travis, I thank you.
What's a nibbler?
They
hat?
don't make them anymore. An honest to God nibbler hat, my oldest son wanted to wear it this year for winter, and I let him wear it. So
I'm gonna send you an extra hat I have. Baby
so
Yoda.
I asked him where it was, and he's like, "Mom, I think I left it on the bus, so I don't know where it is." And I'm trying very hard not to be very angry at my son because they don't make them anymore.
You need to you need to send me that, Farrell. Send me a link in Discord.
For being such an amazing friend.
Dear so-and-so
Was he an
sister,
amazing friend to
don't
you?
watch our streams, but
Yes, at
please
times
let
he
us
was very
interview
amazing.
you.
You say at times, we heard about the Cinnabon card that he left on your car when you came home from a trip.
Yes.
Were there, before maybe we go beyond that, what made him such an amazing friend to you?
It's more about how he made me feel. He would, and things he would say. He believed in me. He saw my potential or saw potential in me. And he just made me feel like I could go, I don't know, he made me feel really good, like I could realize that potential and beyond. And I feel like he saw past whatever exterior was there and saw inside, and he made me feel like I was a beautiful person inside.
Okay, you said a couple things there. You said he made you feel as if you could realize your potential. Is that something that is that feeling something that anyone else had given you in your life?
You sound more than your host.
Occasionally, Daryl and.
This is why,
occasionally
despite what
Matt,
Salvador
and
did,
I don't
I
really
keep him
remember with
around.
Bobby, but I mean, I think there was a few art teachers that really believed in me. I don't know.
But was there something different, be
Pause
it the
it,
frequency
pause
or the
it.
type?
Okay, this is completely off topic. And okay. Allegedly, let's pretend not my middle daughter, but I am still somehow weirdly intertwined with text messages. And the guy that she doesn't really like just made the fatal mistake of asking if she was on her period. And that's why she's been moody.
He'll
I
learn.
was-
He'll learn.
And I was like, oh, dude, fucking run for cover. So I'm over here giggling to myself, and I thought I would share that. And she's like, bruh,
Nice.
are you for effing real right now with me? And I was like, oh, hell has no fury like my middle daughter when she's done. I was like, I might need some bail money right now. Dear
Yeah,
lawyers.
I noticed. Thank you.
Of affirmation
lawyers in
about your
Indiana.
potential that Mr. Alexander was
he's
giving
not
you that
going
was
far.
different than the affirmation
He'll
you might
learn.
have
He'll
been
learn.
getting from
It's
other
all
people
about learning.
in your history.
I would say it was different. It was a lot more intense, more frequent.
Poor
It's kind of like I
dumpling.
was swept
I
off my
don't
feet.
understand why this is an
He
upsetting
came at me really
topic.
strong, but in a positive way. And it wasn't like what I had experienced before. It was nothing like what I experienced before, but it was similar in that it was positive, but it was just like amplified. That would be a good description.
Okay.
Well, she's very religious.
Said you tell him that you call him a rock, a light, and an inspiration. Was that when you said that on April 18th, 2008? Was that sincere? Your sincere feeling?
Yes.
What did you mean by inspiration? How did he inspire you?
He was a motivational speaker, and he would give talks sometimes at prepaid legal events. And
Dave, if
he
your
would,
client stabbed someone
he
and
wouldn't just
shot someone to death, would you maybe spend a lot of time emphasizing how they inspired the stabber.
No, this is the opposite of what you want. You want to be in terror. You want to be held captive. You want to be, it doesn't make sense.
Because
I mean,
this is
inspired the
a
whole
little
crowd, so it created
weird.
Yeah, jump over and give Nick a pity thumbs up, please.
a sort of synergy or an energy in the room that just makes you feel like you can walk out of the room and conquer the world. He had a gift for that.
And that inspiration you talk about him providing in motivational speaking at prepaid legal seminars, did he provide that to you on a personal basis?
Yes, he counseled me many times on a lot of subjects.
Okay. You talk about how you appreciate the ways he's gone out of the way for you.
Yeah,
What do
I'm
you mean
glad
by
you
that?
picked up on that because I felt
Do you want
something, and that's a good way to
examples?
say
Yeah,
it.
if you could give us an example.
Well, when he got me to move to Arizona, he paid for the rental. So
But it
I
doesn't
put all of my things
explain.
from I had from Big Sur, and then I went to Palm Desert to get more things. And he paid for the rental to get out there, and I paid him back, but he gave me the money for it. And then
Or Mo's future
offered
payout
to
funds.
have me store all of my things, my extra things that I didn't have room
Poor
for at the
boy,
house I was
he's
renting.
trying to be
He offered
really
to
sweet.
let me
He's
store them at
just
his house. Like my paintings, he cleared a space in his office closet just for them so that they wouldn't be exposed to the elements. Everything else went in the garage. My house
My
plans that I
son had
donated
like an
them
issue
where I
with his
was, like, he needed
girlfriend
space on his
like
kitchen counter
last
to keep them
spring,
there, and they stayed
and
there for the
they
whole time
broke
I
up
didn't make
because
stuff.
of it. And I said, "So what'd you learn?"
Other times when we were,
This isn't going to be a forever relationship. He's all sad. I'm like,
locally,
okay,
he would
well,
pick up the
take
tab
your
if it was just
lessons
dinner or
and move
something.
on.
Just little nice gestures that he would do. There was the Cinnabon thing that he went out of his
I don't know
way
why high
just to
school
go get
kids
that just
think
for
that
me
those
because he knew I
relationships are
wouldn't be able to get
meant
it when I
for
flew back
life.
into Sky Harbor. I mean, there are tons of little things like that he would do constantly.
Okay. Now, drawing your attention back to April
Right
18th
question, wrong approach.
and that time period of
All right.
2008.
Veilhammer, exactly. It
One of the
was
things you were
very
asked about
sweet. He's
by
just
Mr.
like, I don't
Martinez is
understand why you've
is your
been mad
feelings
at me.
towards Mr. Alexander.
And
So in
yeah,
that
that was it.
regard, drawing your attention to this time period, did you love Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Now, when you were asked about that last week,
Yeah,
you kind
It
of
would have been better
were
arguing like Stockton
saying
syndrome or
that
something.
it was, you loved him, but it was different than it had been in the past. And you weren't allowed to explain that. So if you could kind of explain that difference.
Yeah, Nick's been
how
in the
you felt
chat,
about him
John.
previously as to how you felt about
He
him,
was
say,
just sitting
using
there
April
not too long
18th,
ago.
2008 as a guidepost.
He's sick as a dog. And
Characterization, not allowed to
yeah, you got to
explain.
give him a pity's thumbs up. John.
yeah. Why
You explained to us.
would you want her to explain? Oh my God! Again, we don't want to hear about
We're
how you loved
done with her.
him.
Can
For
I
the love
speak
of
just a
God,
little bit more? I feel like
yes,
it's
please. I don't want to hear about her love
All right.
for the guy she stabbed and left in
Oh
a
wait, we
shower
have
to
closed captionings for this one. Sweet. I
to
don't know why they
mold.
weren't on. We didn't have closed captionings for day 25, but we do for day 26.
Mr. Alexander, when you were dating him and you were involved in a relationship as to post the April 18th, 2008?
Yes, when we first, I felt like I began to love him early on, but not in love. Like I love all people. So he obviously got that.
I
enhanced
love
on,
all
But then as
people.
I got
She
to know
said
him,
that.
my love for him grew, and I wasn't sure we were going because we're about
That's
5
like
months
saying,
after meeting.
I'm
We
not
sort of just meandered
religious,
without
I'm
being in any kind of
spiritual.
official relationship. But soon I began to fall in love with him, and
I
that was
know,
during the time
like
we were dating. And
namaste, and I have a
felt pretty
coexist
intense
bumper
as far as being in
sticker
love
on
with
the
him.
back of my car.
And so when I discovered the things he was doing outside of our relationship, obviously that hurt, and we broke up. But I still loved him. The love didn't go away just because the trust did. So
She's such
we
a
were sort of
child.
making an effort to maybe get back together, not testing the water. And then I kind of realized that maybe he wasn't going to change. And then when the morning we have a soup pie, when he
I don't want Jody's
sweared
love.
at me, I just thought,
Yeah,
I
maybe
didn't, like I said, I didn't need
love
somebody
people a little
to
less.
speak to, like I didn't want to have children with somebody that could speak to their mother that way. I kind of looked at it that way. So I still loved him, but I began to pull back from the idea of a future with him. And so we remained in a
love
limbo
you
state for a while.
so
And then
much.
it became apparent around Christmas time of 2007 is when I flew back home and realized I want to be here. I don't want to be in Arizona anymore. So
We're at 1.25.
Let me ask you this, and maybe this should be an
1.25.
oversimplification, but forgive me if I do so. Would this early
okay,
on
Money
period
Money.
be
We get it.
more of a romantic love in the time, April 18th, 2008? Would that be more of a platonic love? for lack of a better way of saying it?
It's complicated because by that time, I felt more in an unconditional love where in terms that I just wanted him to be happy. I wanted him to have a future that was happy. I wanted to have my own future, but I wanted us to be able to remain on good terms. And at the same time, we kept confusing our boundaries because we were still sleeping together and doing that. So that kind of kept my heart more involved than maybe it should have been.
Okay.
I'm calling, what's that word that I want to say? Oh, yeah, bullshit.
She's on the stand, I think, for 3 more days. She's been on the stand for like 5 already. I think it's like 8 or 9 total. And there's 2 full days of jury questions for her. Lady Lysandra, and welcome. Yeah, she's
So on April
obsessed with him.
18th, 2008, then what you're telling us is you had an unconditional love for him.
That's how I would characterize it.
I think she was obsessed with the idea of Travis, not necessarily Travis, or what was actually going on.
Exhibit 485,
Ship, indeed.
if
Who's
I'm
ship?
correct, was the
No part
note
of this
you
woman is
made.
really Jodi.
At his memorial, correct?
Yes.
No, you can't see it all here. Let me bring it up for you. That was your note to him, correct?
Correct.
And you had your email or what have you, at least provided that photo.
Yes, we'll say it. When he would engage in completion activities on my face and then throw candy at me, I felt like a whore. That
I
was said
still want
on
to
the
know what
stand.
kind of candy.
I do too. Was it the Pop
Like
Rocks? Did you just, like, see how
Smarties?
many would stick?
Was it Twizzlers? Was it Nerds?
I know. I want to know.
Was it
from
Pixie
to
Sticks? I need to
Someone who
know.
was
Then
organizing
the prosecutor repeated it.
Yes.
Okay. Before we get into the content of this, would it be safe to assume
Jelly Ranchers.
you weren't the only person at this memorial service?
Yes.
Gummy bears.
Matter of fact, you told us you talked to several people at that memorial service, correct?
Yes, I knew all of the people. there.
Laffy Taffy.
Milk
You weren't
Duds.
the only person, to your understanding, that thought Travis was a great guy, were you?
No, I was not.
I want to put a poll up.
Black
Well, actually,
licorice.
black licorice.
Good and plenties.
Good and plenties. Well, they talked
to what
about
you
Pop
wrote.
Rocks and Tootsie Pops engaging in physical
Do you
activities. using
remember
those.
when his memorial service was?
I believe it was on a Sunday or maybe a Monday. So it would have been the 15th or 16th of June.
Okay. So on the 15th or 16th of June, you write that, Travis, you're beautiful on the inside and out. Did you mean that?
Yes.
And you also say, you always told me that. Did Travis tell you that you were
No,
beautiful
no.
on the inside and out as well? Is that what you're saying there?
Yeah, he said I was more beautiful on the inside.
And that made you feel good about yourself?
Yes.
You tell him that you never stopped believing in him. And I know that you always believed in me.
I feel like it slows down and speeds up.
When you
But
say
I
you
think
never
it's just
stopped
the
believing
attorney
in
that
Travis,
talks so slow.
what were you referring to?
Yes.
His potential and
This
his
is
ability
normal
to
speed.
realize what he wanted to do with his life. And I also believed that he could get better and fix the parts of him that he considered broken or that needed work. Like we all have those parts, and he was constantly striving to work on himself.
I want to know what love is. I want Jodi to show me. Thank you very much for the
You
49
say,
nights.
thank you for sharing so much. And is it fair to me to assume that you're talking about more than
You got a little singing out of me.
storage space for your pictures?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
I just mean the things that he imparted to me. He shared a lot spiritually with me, and his wisdom, his insights, his philosophies, his creeds, all of these
Golden
things that
coins.
I sort of adopted a lot of them. And
Yes.
we went on so many trips. It felt like we lived
But he just
an
like
entire lifetime in
tosses
1
one
year.
with the thumb.
And
Just one.
so
Just
I
here
was
you go.
basically referring to the whole canon of experiences that we
Keep the
had.
change, you filthy
And
animal.
Yes, exactly.
sharing of his, I think you said philosophical and spiritual self and beliefs and feelings. That meant a lot to you?
Yes, very much.
Oh. I'm gonna have
You
to get
also
some
say
gold
that the
coins
world
and
has
try
been
that out. We'll
blessed
see how it goes.
because you, referring to Travis, have been here. When you wrote that on June 15th or June 16th of 2008, did you believe that?
I did.
You finish this note to him by saying, I love you. On June 15th or 16th of 2008, did you still feel that same unconditional love, to use your words, for Travis that you were feeling in April of 2008?
Well, I still had love for him, yes. And I was thinking now more in terms of eternity.
Well, that makes sense given the time frame we were at. But let's maybe take a step back from eternity for a second.
Take a step back
Looking
from
at that
eternity.
quote, I love you. Would that be a true statement on June 2nd, 2008?
Yes,
June 3rd,
yes,
2008? June 4th, 2008?
yes.
That's what
Now
she was
you
trying
love
to
him.
recreate, those Fabio photos. That was the pictures like
How about
in
the days in
shower
between?
and stuff. Is that what you think, Mo?
Oh my,
They're trying to
no.
do.
So now she loves him more like Gandhi loved people? Like, what the hell are we talking about
It's
here?
a spiritual love. There was a connection deep in our soul. This is what psychopaths that end up murdering you say, people. So
Oh my
if you're
God.
with someone that
David
talks like this,
Fresh. What the hell, ma'am?
run. Is
Yes.
Jody's
Also,
attorney a moron? Well, he's not good at lawyering, in my opinion. But he also has to deal with Jodi, too. Remember, they are oil and water. They do not get along. They're fighting with each other behind the scenes this entire time. So this is the mess that gets produced. This is like going to one of those dinner parties where the couple goes in the back room and argues, and then they come out all
she said
awkward.
Mormon, not moron. Mormon.
Oh, Mormon. Mormon. Oh, I see it. Mormon. I don't know. That doesn't matter. He's a moron. If that's what I thought. See, I read what I want to read. The chat just exists for my entertainment. I just pick and choose what I want to pick and choose. See, Stray agrees with me. She thought.
Look, my leg, there is some heavy rain coming in, and my leg is like F you sideways. So, I mean, I'm sorry, you're probably in the yellow now. I have been not.
Jodi goes automatically to the yellow all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Well, I apologize for any unintended semi painless talk.
is Jodi's attorney a Mormon? I don't know. I don't think so.
June 4th, 2008.
Yeah,
This
no.
memorial service. Would that be true?
Yes,
About today. Would
yes,
that be true?
yes, it's.
Why? Who set the? Did somebody mess with our?
Yeah, I don't
Automatic
understand
chat
why
filters?
it's like on Emily D. Baker levels of
You
hold.
also
Yeah.
talked about.
It's like no meanie comments. We like meanie comments.
Yeah, no, we're gonna need to fix that. I need to go on my analytics.
You said something.
It might have been something that happened
You
yesterday
recall
during
hearing
the
the
Zach
recorded
stream.
phone call you had with Mr. Alexander on May 10th, 2008. Recall hearing that?
Yes,
during
I do.
the trial? Okay. And something was said on there. Because, apart from the spiritual side of your
Thank you,
relationship,
John.
and friendship, and close friendship you shared.
Oh, thank you.
There was
Oh,
a sexual
okay.
aspect.
That makes sense. You changed it last night for Zachariah Anderson. Okay, cool.
Oh,
we can
yeah.
double check that.
That's a good idea. for
to your
buttholes.
relationship as well, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
And
that seems appropriate.
part of that, anyway, we've seen in the phone call of May 10th, right?
Yes.
You made a comment in that tape about him making you feel like a goddess. I believe those were your words. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Oh God, don't bring up the Smexy tape.
Refresh our memory.
You know what? We
first
need to
of
create
all,
a self-help book for guys
when
and just
what he
take
was
all of
doing
Jody's quotes
to make you feel
and
like a
say,
goddess,
if
or what that was a
your
reference
girlfriend says any of these
It was a
things,
reference to the
run.
time that we took a bath together when he had all the candles everywhere and rose petals and there was music. And it wasn't
Are
just,
they woke? I don't spend a lot
it
of
didn't
time in
go
our chat.
quickly. It was
Not
drawn out. It
woke.
was
They just
romantic.
look. They have different rules, and that's okay. Look,
Suck it.
her rules are her
Moron.
rules.
It's fixed. That's more appropriate. That's our chat.
They have different rules. I mean, if you want, you can go there when you want to. Maybe you can't handle certain things, or you know that trial is going to be harder on you, and you want a lot of maybe emotional coddling. Let's just say, if you want degenerate and chuckle and maybe make fun of things inappropriately, you come to our channels.
Yes.
Because I'll dress up like Garth with boobs, because that's just what I do, because I wear a lot of funny wigs and, make
And
fun
Mo
of
came
stuff.
from our chat. And if you want an
Yeah.
idea of what our chat is about, the person with the most authority in chat, YouTube, and Discord, except for me, is Jung. And suck it, moron, the chat is fixed. That is
Yes.
the level of our
No,
chat. I
not
love it.
Garth Brooks. Garth from Wayne's World.
Yes.
Go
That was
look
an
up
amazing
Megan
wig.
Fox's
I'm going to put it in.
stream last night.
I went to sleep listening to you guys last night. It was amazing. At like 1 a.m. when I was finally done streaming. So I had to leave because I wanted to go to sleep listening to you guys. And it was very good. Obviously I fell asleep. I didn't catch it all.
Yeah, and Line Run, I totally get it. She has 7K subs. And again, it's her channel, her rules. So if she wants to have those rules, that's totally fine. If we have a different culture here, that's totally fine too. It's all about, whatever. No, I'm trying to get I'm trying to get Flux to dress up as Wayne for Halloween. So I can be Garth and she can be Wayne, and we can be Disney's remake of Wayne's World.
If you guys want to see Mo on with Megan Fox and Flux, and did MG ever make it? Because I fell asleep before that.
No, we
Okay.
stopped at, we were all falling out. Flux had already started drinking.
Well, she started drinking on my stream last night. We sent her over a bit inebriated.
Yes.
So, okay, we'll keep going.
And I am worried that in some deep, dark corner of Reddit and possibly the dark web, my Garth with boobs might be used for dark. I'm flattered. I'm in fear flattered. I'm flirted that it might be used for terrible reasons.
Yeah, Flux, you guys ended or Flux left, and then she came. She didn't come back onto our stream, but she was in chat.
Oh,
and then she said she was making
And that made you
pancakes at
feel
like
great, right?
like midnight.
Yes.
So she must have been feeling the
Were there
effects.
other times in your relationship, your sexual relationship, where it could be said you
He
felt
put
like a
the
goddess?
P in the
Were there other times?
P?
Yes.
Describe those for us.
Well, it was more just how, rather than the act, it almost could have been almost any act, but it was how he made me feel and how his demeanor was and how he treated me during those things that made me feel special. And it wasn't just for physical gratification, it was because our
Chat are
minds and our hearts
reflective
were
of
sort
the
of in
personality of
alignment
the
as well.
channel owner. Tyrant rule means channel owner is an emotionally stunted,
Is that a feeling
authoritarian tyrant. Chat
that you
rules always
experienced
show
before
the
in your
true
life before
personality.
Mr. Alexander?
Yeah, and my
Oh God,
chat
I
rules
would
say
are
yes, I
be
hear
nice
about
to
her
everybody,
personal experiences.
no personal attacks except against me because I love them.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing.
Me and Jimmy are always appropriate. Yeah. And we never draw stupid things. By the way, I got to figure out how this works. I got the app where I can start drawing on the screen. And as soon as I figure out how to properly use it, it's going to be a lot of fun. Could be
There
a
are going
lot
to
of-
be mustaches everywhere.
There's gonna be there's gonna be mustaches and other things drawing on a lot of stuff.
Are we going to get
Said before.
Are we going to get reenactments?
we might. This is gonna be
To this
a lot of
degree?
fun. I got to figure out how to like enable it and work it properly.
Well, as far as the way he put me on a pedestal, no, not to that degree.
See, like I can.
And you say he put you on a pedestal.
What? That's it.
We talked about it, we talked a little bit
See,
this
now,
morning.
see, I'm
about,
messing
you know,
things
the-
up, and I
the
don't know what I'm
bath,
doing.
I
the things he
downloaded
did
it
for
and
you.
then I
Were there other things you
I-
felt like?
It's
cut
it's all
everything
kinds
we
of
haven't
bad
talked
right
about
now.
where
I got to
he put
figure it
you
out.
on
Yeah.
this pedestal.
oh,
It was more like the way he would look at me sometimes, compliments he would give me, and sometimes just out of the blue, he would recall something that I did, or a thought he had that day, and usually it was in terms of elevating me above all else kind of thing. And I mean, I didn't really believe it, but I believed that he might believe it.
I'm
So
comfortable with that
it kind of,
statement,
it made me feel
C-Swift.
special because he viewed me that way, that I was somebody special.
So in terms of your relationship with Mr. Alexander then, there were times when you were way up here on this pedestal, right?
Yes,
And there were other times you were down on the ground being kicked, right?
yes,
I want to get one
You
of
were way up
those.
here on this pedestal, right?
yes.
You were
I
also,
want to get one of those stylists and the mouse
oh
pad
yeah.
where I can draw like properly with a,
Oh,
like a
yeah.
pen shaped thing to do all of my diagrams on the screen rather than a mouse.
Oh, that would
That's
be really
what I want.
nice.
Because I do a lot of stuff with Photoshop, and I really want for that. So then I'm going to keep it up here, and so I can. This could be awesome.
Honestly, I would just like to get big enough that I can pay a local college person, and I'll even go name brand Hot Pockets and life skill learning and
You're gonna
possibly,
buy the Kroger brand Doritos and
yeah.
all
Well,
the
you
great
know,
stuff.
I mean, look,
also down on the ground, is that correct?
munchies are munchies, and you don't really care about brands.
Oh, I absolutely do. I can't have off-brand certain things. Like if I'm going to get a French onion dip, it has to be Dean's. If I'm going to get a saltine cracker, it has to be the premium brand. It has, or Nabisco. It has to be certain things. Other stuff I don't care about.
True.
Yes,
Being kicked? Were you kicked while you were on the ground?
once I was,
Oh, are you getting the same thing?
on one
I'm
occasion, I
gonna
mean, he
look
kicked
it
me
up.
twice.
Let's see here.
Sustained.
Amazon.
Okay. So we have a relationship with lots of highs and lots of lows, right?
Yes,
Now, you testified previously that you met Travis in September 2006.
You think
You
he's
talked
related to
about
John Fetterman?
your
'Cause they
relationship.
look really
You were
related.
in a relationship with Mr. Brewer. You talked to us eventually about
I don't
the
know,
time
but
that you
I
became
don't care about anything that he's saying
a
right now.
couple with
Me
Mr.
either.
Alexander, and times when you
My
weren't a
mind,
couple.
that's
with
why
Mr.
my mind has
Alexander. Do you
wandered
recall
to
doing
the
that?
hump on his
Yes.
back and if he's related to John Fetterman.
What I want to talk about now is because it
Which is
may not
terrible.
be clear. And you were asked about, you recall being asked about after breaking up, why you felt like you had permission to be over at his home, that sort of thing. Do you remember that?
yes.
Okay. And in that regard, what was the difference? First starting, say, for example, with the interaction between you and Mr. Alexander, of when you were a couple, by the definitions that you and he had used, as opposed to when you weren't a couple by that same definition.
It's only
Was there
today,
a
John.
difference in terms of how you
Last
interacted with each
couple of
other?
days, I guess.
As far as, well, in my mind, I drew a distinction. We still continued to be intimate and hang out and go on dates and travel and talk late at night and email and chat and text back and forth. All those things continued, but I drew a distinction in my mind that he's no longer my boyfriend. I'm no longer his girlfriend. We're just maybe going to get back together or maybe not. It was kind of like that. We were in a state of limbo for a while.
Well, let's break that down a little bit if we could. You were having a sexual relationship.
Ooh, I'm getting
with
mine by
Mr.
4
Alexander
a.m.
before you became a couple, correct?
Yes,
And that sexual relationship, that included oral sex?
Yes,
Did it include anal sex before you were a couple?
just the one time
Disgusting.
that I was baptized and that ended pretty quickly.
Okay. And did it include, vaginal sex?
No,
Okay.
I don't know what is going on Streamwise, but MLS looks like a young Nick. Well, thank you, traveling. I take that as a compliment. I like Nick. But what's going on Streamwise is Nick and I are dual streaming, but the role of Nick is being played by Mo in the Deep. So, hello. And I think you're muted, Mo, if you were trying to say anything.
Hey, sorry. I have all the children and they're being extra loud, but my settings didn't have the cancel out background noise, so it should be a little better now. But my
Oh.
children are still all alive and all loud, so
Oh, we got the it's setting now, so we're good. I haven't heard it in a little bit, so we're all right. But yeah, that is what's going on, and we are streaming some Jodi Arias. It is Jodi Day, noon Eastern, every Saturday
so-
and Tuesday.
he baptized her in both the holy water and
And the holiest of holes, the holy water in the back hole. Yes,
in the forbidden hole. I guess.
in the same day. Yes, that's.
What?
Oh, now of course. On that note, most kids come in.
So when you became a couple, then
You know your kids are overhearing all of this, and they're just going to be like going to school, and they're going to talk about the forbidden hole. Did you hear about the forbidden
kids
hole,
that
guys?
came up with hand jobs instead of working with hands.
I know. They're already there. Jodi is holy. At least 3 of them.
did the sexual relationship, did that somehow automatically change the sexual boundaries between the two of you?
no, it didn't really change. We tried to keep the same standards, I guess you could say.
The standards being the law of chastity as told to you by Mr. Alexander, is that right? Are we talking about the laws of chastity as told to you by Mr. Alexander?
Yes,
Oh yes, we are dual streaming. Each of our respective streams are pinned at the top of the others. So you can go to top of Nick's chat and come over and stream here and give me a thumbs up. You can go from my stream over to Nick's and give him a thumbs up. We do have sort of an unofficial thumbs up competition. Right now, I am beating him, which is to be expected. However, it is sadly the case at the end of the day, he usually beats me. So if I can get a win, at least when he's not on screen, that would be great. So go give me a thumbs up.
And that standard, to your understanding, what did that prohibit?
Oh,
What act
please
did that
have him
prohibit?
ask about the Provo
it
push.
prohibited premarital vaginal sex.
Please ask about the Provo push.
And you had told us
We need
about
more
the
testimony
incident
about this.
where you were sleeping and you woke up with Mr. Alexander's penis inside your vagina. Do you remember telling us about that?
Yes,
Was he your boyfriend at that time?
yes,
So you didn't have vaginal intercourse until you were boyfriend and girlfriend, correct? That would have been the first time, so.
yeah, but it wasn't
Real
regular. It was,
necklace. My mom got it
I guess
for
I
me.
kind of looked at it as an accident or a mistake, and
It lights up.
we didn't do that again until after we broke up.
You say.
Yeah, this is
that you
redirect, so
saw
they're going to
this
go over it
first
again.
Encounter
Oh,
where he was inside your vagina with his penis as an accident or mistake. Is that right?
The first time the P went in the V, it was an accident. He fell into her.
it was on a trampoline. What had happened was, as you do, you've seen Jimmy Kimmel, girls on
Into her
trampolines.
and out of her and into her again.
What had happened is there was a slip and slide, and you know how slickery those things are. And then, one thing led to another, and they had drank caffeinated drinks, and they went all Twitter-pated on the caffeine.
I mean, who hasn't slipped and fallen into a V? I mean, come on, guys, be honest.
I mean, at least one of my 6
Yes.
kids, that's what happened, I swear.
How is it that you can rationalize or characterize this invasion in that way?
Oh, so bad, but I had to pull it up.
Characterization,
Yes.
invasion,
Hallways with all the meanings that
Let me
you
see
could
your question.
possibly attribute to it.
He places his penis in your vagina when you're asleep, right?
Yes,
And you just told us you wrote that off to a mistake.
that's how I looked at it.
Now, I could drop a pen and it'd be a mistake, but it'd be hard to do what he did as a mistake. So how do you get there in your mind?
Well, we were sleeping and no words were exchanged. Like all of his motor skills were functioning, but I don't know that if he was really like mentally
So he was
conscious or not.
sleep
He was there, he
winking.
was breathing hard, that kind of thing, but he didn't say anything and it was never mentioned the next day. So I assumed maybe, I don't know, maybe he wasn't fully aware of what he was doing because maybe he was groggy or disoriented or still half asleep. I don't know.
Okay.
You're trying to say officer? Why there's an officer in the gallery? I don't know. I haven't noticed one, but I'll check it out and see.
Again, to keep awesome petty face sister from flying over to Jodi.
Well, it could be. Yeah, very much so. By the way, if you noticed on the Ethan Crumley sentencing I did yesterday and this morning, there were a lot of officers around Ethan. I think not because of him, but because of others that might want to harm him. Particularly one dad early on yesterday morning stream. So who knows? And they cycle in and out and they wander around. There's court officers and sheriff's deputies, and they might just wander in and around. Just
Getting
like
back
patrolmen
to
on the street. That's what they do.
The idea of you and Mr. Alexander as a couple and not a couple. You broke up on what day?
June 29th,
Officer
2007.
in white. Oh, he's like a Navy
as,
guy.
As we've heard, though,
I see him.
June 29th, 2007 was not the end of your sexual relationship with him, right?
That's right.
So in that regard, one has to ponder, what did the end of that relationship
I'm putting up a poll.
mean in terms of your relationship with Travis?
It meant to me that we were now two sovereign single adults.
Sovereign, you say? Do you have a Black's Law
A
dictionary?
lot of people,
All right, there's a new poll up.
when they break
If
up,
you're not on an Android, you should be able to see it.
can you understand that a lot of people, when they break up, that's the end of things. They stop sleeping together, they stop contacting each other, right?
Other people.
I'm curious.
After you
Take
broke
from
up,
me.
you said your words sounded more like intergovernmental relations. You said you were both two sovereign states, right? Is that what I heard?
Yes, we were single and free to make our own decisions.
Okay.
All right, fair
Single
answer.
and free to make your
But
own
you have
decisions.
to make a general selection.
Yet you were then.
I mean,
Yeah,
if it's
it
the
would dep-
homeless man that lives under the bridge, generally,
it
I
does
could
depend
assume you would
on-
say no. We're
It,
assuming
it
like
would be
this is
dependent.
a significant other, right? We're assuming this is the boyfriend, fiance, husband, whatever, right? Let's just assume that for the sake of the poll. Most important poll this year. Yes, it is. We need
We're still
answers.
making the decision to engage in sexual relations with Mr. Alexander, correct?
Projection as an answer B.
Oh, well, do the answer.
Yes, I was still making that decision.
And you were asked about, well, based on your assessment of this breakup.
I need translation.
then, was he, to use your words, as a sovereign state, free to engage in sexual activity with whomever he chose, in your mind?
In my mind, except for the moral implications, I believe that he was free to do that and it would be something that I should take offense to because
Moral
he's not my boyfriend anymore.
Ma'am, why is it immoral
Well-
if y'all are just knocking bits?
What about other concerns? What about health concerns? Did you feel like he was obligated to let you know if he engaged in sexual behavior with anyone else because of fear of sexually transmitted diseases?
What is the
That was one
wind
concern I had,
today?
yes.
I'm swaying like inches in this tree.
Did you and he
That's what she
discuss
said.
that situation? We're broken up, but we're still going to have sex, but
Sorry.
I'm going to let you know if I start with someone else.
There was a conversation somewhat like that, so I assumed he would just tell me if he decided to date somebody else.
Ma'am, you were
Full-size
talking to
Toblerone
like
log.
8 other
That's
people.
why I asked him when I saw him with that girl, but it wasn't, as far as STDs and that kind of thing, we didn't have a sit-down discussion about it.
Okay.
Did you have a
And you
stand-up
mentioned the
discussion?
girl. You're talking about when you went to Mr. Alexander's
Really?
home. You saw him with this girl through the window, right?
Yes,
And you were asked,
She's
why was
literally
it okay
outside
for you to be
watching
there
him make out with
after
another
you had
girl.
broken up? You recall being asked that?
yes.
Well, but
Why was it okay for you to be there?
we've learned she was talking to
Well, the
at
night
least
that I
6
went there, it
other
was okay
dudes,
because he gave me
right?
the green light. I called him before going. He said, sure, it was.
No,
very-
no, nobody's taking this whole like sleepwalking BS seriously. No, this is all just a made up story by Jodi, and it doesn't even matter. None of this matters because whatever happened then, and whatever happened on the day in question happened on the day in question. This is all just she's trying to establish that he was like abusive, but it's so ridiculous that nobody cares about this part of the story. It's just for the case, anyways. It's highly entertaining for us to listen to. What do you guys say, Mom?
Again, you have, she has at least what, 7? No, not. She had the guy that she was laying on top of, adjusting. So it wasn't, smexiness because they were both clothed at the Mormon, multi-level marketing thing that she used as an alibi. She had several other guys that she was talking to. I mean, how is he the
She
bad guy?
immediately went to one of her, guys in the waiting room after the unaliving of Travis. And she had another, I think there was a third guy too that she was talking to at this time. Travis had girls that he was talking to, but they were still getting together every once in a while, to bump uglies. And Jodi just couldn't let this go.
Sir, if you want me to throw it, you
Why
have
was
to
it
let go,
okay for you to be there?
dumb dog.
Well, the
She's a
night that I
crazy
went there,
hoe.
it was okay because he gave me the green light. I called him before going. He said, sure, it was a very good.
Why were you staring outside, or why were you standing outside staring through a window at Travis making out with another girl? Well, because he wanted me to be there. That's her answer.
Well, there's always a good reason to spy on your ex-boyfriend.
I guess
That night, he
he wanted
encouraged
me
you come
to.
over. Is that what you're
He
telling
wanted
us?
me to protect him
Well, he
from
didn't
this
encourage
woman.
me. He just gave me permission. I
How
needed
else
get
are
my
you going to
social security
text
card.
deduct those night vision goggles?
Oh,
This issue of this discussion
I guess we'll never know.
You
Maybe a
had
question I can ask
with
her during the
Travis.
interview.
About this girl, were you angry during this discussion?
No,
All right,
I was actually frightened a little bit.
What do you mean?
I ended the poll. Oh, wait, why did it do that? It said 69% said yes, and I wanted to end the poll. Now it came up as 68. I'm going to still call it 69 because the other one is 31. 69% of you ladies said yes. You like waking up that way.
You mean
I
frightened?
was not, I guess frightened isn't the word, but intimidated. I didn't want to be confrontational. I wanted to just throw it out there and let him know it's okay. If you're dating someone, you can let me know. I'm going to be cool about that, but I want to know rather than sticking around and, while he kept giving me intermittent doses of incentive to stay and believe in him, we can just be friends and draw a line right now and you can have your life and I'll have mine and it's okay. I just wanted to know, that's all.
You made a comment before we get too far off that on confrontation. You said you didn't want to be confrontational just a second ago. You also made the comment during your time with last week that you weren't allowed to be confrontational with Travis. What do you mean by that?
There were a few times when I asserted myself and he checked it very quickly.
Checked it how?
Usually by verbally snapping back was how it usually went.
Dave, do you have the
When
dumpster
these
defender? I
verbal-
doubt
when
it.
he-
Sounder.
I doubt it. Yeah,
I
think so.
doubt it.
I
'Cause that's
need
not-
to get my drop machine going. But
I
I
have
doubt it.
decided that this weekend I'm opening my Stream Deck
I
I'm
know.
actually going to do it.
But see,
I don't
I'm
know why I
reserving
have
all my like
a phobia of it, but I do.
I'm reserving all my extra funds for the Crumley Cam, so I haven't bought my Stream Deck yet, but I do have the iPad and I need to get that going. Maybe I'll just spend some time getting that going today, because it would be nice to be able to just,
I doubt it.
Poke at
You
stuff.
snap back verbally. Did this cause fear in you?
At first I felt more like a chastised child. Eventually it began to instill fear and intimidation.
This is my favorite though.
I have never heard someone say so many wrong things, one after the other, consecutively in a row.
25, please remember the admonition. You are excused.
Court's in recess.
Please be seated. The record will show the presence of the jury, the defendant, and all counsel. Mr. Nerman,
Yeah,
you may
I have
continue.
the software.
Before you do that, ladies and gentlemen, did any of you hear or see anything about this case on the media since I last asked you that question? Has anyone tried to speak with you or influence you in any way about this case? I see no hands to either question. Thank you, Mr. Nerman. You may now continue with redirect.
Thank you. Ms. Arias, before we broke for lunch, we were talking about the discussion you were having with Mr. Alexander after you found him making out with this girl. Do you recall that this morning?
That's
Yes.
true, C-Swept.
And I believe your words were, in prior testimony, something to the effect that you wanted to understood where you stood in terms of
You
the
wanted to
relationship. Is that
understood?
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That the sentence
And
doesn't make sense.
You also mentioned on direct examination, you said that he was still, I believe your word was courting you, right?
Yes.
Okay. What do you mean at this time period that Mr. Alexander was still
I didn't know Nick was sick. Laughter is the best medicine. So let me tell you about the one about a girl, a bucket, and two heads.
courting you? What do you mean by that?
Well, after we broke up, he promised he would change and, he wanted me to move down there. So he paid for me to move down there. And so he would still take me out. We'd go on dates and that kind of thing. He wanted to spend his birthday with me. So those are just things that I felt we were kind of just testing the water to see if maybe we could trust each other again or that kind of thing. So when I saw him, I knew we were still not together, still single, but when I saw him with that girl, I thought maybe I should ask if he is dating someone else and just hasn't told me, or find out what the status is so that I can find out where I stand.
Okay. And this conversation you had with him about questioning him where you stood in the greater scheme of things, that is what led him to run up and beat his head against the wall? Is this the same conversation? or-
Well, that wasn't the part. It was the part where I reminded him about how he said I could come over last night, and it, like a flash of realization, crossed his face. And I think he just, I don't know what he was thinking, but I could tell after that part, he changed. He got upset.
Okay.
By the way,
And I'm a little,
if anyone ever
confused
wants to
then
send me
because-
candies, these things are the best.
when you went to have a soup pie, you had told us that, we heard on cross-examination about this backpack and supposedly full of makeup, and that you
Yeah,
and
but it's
Travis were having a fight
melodrama,
about
right?
that. Do you recall being asked about that on cross-examination?
Which, by the way,
it's-
fairly recently in my life, I understood the definition of melodrama, and it's the false creation of drama where drama doesn't actually exist. And that's exactly what Jodi is. She's dripping of melodrama.
Yeah. No, I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to touch your really
Look at Jodi's hands.
gross
No broken
thing.
finger on show. Yeah. No, I mean, the whole broken finger thing is so weird. But her story doesn't line up with the photos.
Again,
Yes.
I just don't understand why. Look, they had a terrible fact pattern to begin with, but had she just not given 27,000 million interviews, 133 different answers, and not been a verbal mix of word salad and a stroke victim, he could have rehabilitated her and she could have made a fairly convincing case for self-defense because she wouldn't have lied as much.
She's so gross.
Had they
she's just gross. She's just gross. And I know Salvador's all into her, and that's great. You know, there's someone for everyone. And I hope Salvador gets there. And Jessica B, you get candy after you take a facial. Last one, I need a nap.
Okay.
Pretty much.
And the other issue there was
No,
that you
we're
had
done.
told us in prior testimony that there was a fight going on in the bathroom or bedroom bathroom behind closed doors that Mr. Dan Freeman wasn't privy to. Is that right?
That's right.
And this argument, if I recall correctly, related to your interaction with John Dixon. Is that correct?
Yes, it did. He read about that interaction in my journal.
Okay.
Mm,
So, and refresh our
another
memory,
half hour
if
or
you could
so,
briefly,
maybe a
what
little bit longer,
interaction are we
Salvador.
talking about?
I'm going to
I
redirect you,
went,
though.
at one point, it was right before
You're going.
convention, so it would have been maybe late August. I drove out to, so I think it was Irvine, and hung out with John. We just hung out, spent the weekend together, traded files, music files, movie files.
Okay.
Went to the beach, went to dinner, that kind of thing. Watched a movie.
Well, I'm a little confused though. Why was it okay for
Should we
Travis
just
to be
redirect?
making out with this girl and for you not to be seen or not to hang out with John Dixon?
Well, I was under the impression at the time that it wasn't because I was hanging out with another guy, but because of who the guy was. So that's what I believed then, but the same pattern continued with other guys also.
Okay. And who the guy was is because, at least at this point in time, when you were in Irvine with him, he was not a church member. I believe that's what you told us earlier, correct?
He was not a church member. Yes, his grandfather was a member of the church, married outside the church. So his children and grandchildren, which would also be John, were not church members.
Okay. And this girl that he was making out with, was her status as a church member ever verified?
Hey,
didn't
Danielle. Welcome. Welcome to Jodi Day.
I guess that means no, huh?
No. Yes, that means no.
Okay.
You know who's not in my chat? Danielle,
Ask him
did you
about
notice who's not here?
Approach it.
It's Caitlin. Yamaha, you notice that? Caitlin's not here. Caitlin has a thing right now for some reason against me. I was just trying to see if we see that Navy guy or whatever more closely here in the background. That's Jodi's mom.
Now with
May continue.
this girl Travis was making out with, was it ever asserted that it was okay? Don't worry about it because she's a church member?
No, that was never discussed.
Now, the issue of your sex life with Travis came about in a lot of different ways throughout this
I'm
case.
so glad that we get to talk about this.
One of the
again.
things that was discussed last week when Mr.
Provo
Martinez
push.
spoke to you
The
is
Provo
this
push.
idea that maybe before he met you, that Mr. Alexander was a virgin. Do you remember being asked about that?
Yes.
Objection, no, so she's never asked that.
Approach, please.
Oh, God. This is like 12 sidebars in the last hour and 15.
Does the family have to leave when they go to sidebar, or are they just coming
No, they
in
just
off
people.
a break?
Yeah, they just
Oh,
wander in
okay.
and out. It's a good time to go to the bathroom. You know, it's like intermission.
Yeah.
Also, not legal advice, not a lawyer. What'd you say?
I
don't know.
I'm not. I am a twice flunked out of college mama six. I'm a mouthy redhead on the internet, and if you are taking life advice from me, really, it's time to get your life checked out. I'm a big old sailor. I have a Christmas tree with a unicorn head.
This is redirect,
On
by
it.
the way. So this is redirect of Jodi Arias after the angry little elf was questioning her for, I think, 3 days. And then, so we were hoping, or at least from a defense attorney standpoint, we were hoping some substantial rehabilitation of this witness. And so far, it's not going so well. It's kind of boring, and it's not compelling me in any way. It's just sort of digging the hole deeper.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Okay.
if I had
Can we get transcripts of the sidebars? Don't know. Some sidebars are recorded and some aren't. If there are transcripts of the sidebars, that could be a lot of fun, actually. We could keep Jodi going for a while, because after this, we have some phone recordings, jailhouse phone recordings. We have some other interviews we're going to do, or we're going to watch, and then we're going to try to conduct some interviews with some of the people that you see on the screen right now. So we'll see. Okay, let's see here. It's a long sidebar. Lots of sidebars. That would be interesting to look at. I do too. And I will give Farrell 100% credit for this. So she's got this image. She's also got what, Santa Snitch?
Remind us
sitting up on the
again,
shelf there.
in terms of the sexual behavior you engaged in with Mr. Alexander, what was the first occasion of sexual interaction?
That's the plan. Just try to
The
interview as many people
weekend
as we can.
Following convention
Okay, and where did that take place?
at his friend's house in Marietta.
And if I remember correctly, that was oral sex.
Yes.
If it's possible for you to make conclusions like this, based on this sexual interaction, were you of the mindset that Mr. Alexander had no sexual experience prior to this encounter?
No, I was not, based on that interaction and other things he told me prior to it.
So he never led you to
Well, it might get
believe
stuck in the
that he was a
mire.
virgin through his words?
Objection, counsel.
No, if anything, he led me to believe the exact opposite.
The exact opposite being what?
He had more sexual partners than I've had, but might have been over a longer range of time.
So what Jodi's whole defense is that Travis was abusive throughout the relationship and basically used her as a pincushion. And then upon acts of completion on her face, would throw candy or money at her. Well, he would leave money on the nightstand, basically all sorts of derogatory stuff, but she kept coming back for more. And then it went too far and she had to defend herself. That's essentially the arguments. So that's why this is relevant. But I don't think anyone's buying it.
X to doubt she had less sexual partners than he did.
You also mentioned somewhere down
Yeah,
the
I
road
still
after
think
that
he has
first
her
sexual
nudes.
encounter,
Which, by the way, if you want to see, if you remember MLS, they're in
well, let me
my
ask you,
Discord.
the second sexual encounter, that was the oral sex in your car, correct?
That's correct.
Did he do anything during that encounter that led you to believe that maybe this wasn't his first rodeo, so to speak?
Objection.
Yeah,
She has
pretty
already
much.
indicated that they already had sex, so. I mean, relevance is the objection.
Approach, please.
Oh my God. Number 16 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I need to figure out how Nicholas is doing the
Did he do anything?
sidebar counter.
Oh, he's throwing up a banner.
Yes.
Oh,
So did he do anything to make you believe that this wasn't his first encounter of this nature?
Yes, he flipped the visor down and angled the mirror so he could have an additional visual vantage point.
I think it's what he's doing.
You also mentioned
so glad his
during the
mom gets to hear
testimony
all of these details.
that
If she really
there
wants
was
to
a
know.
time
Mm-hmm.
when Mr. Alexander performed oral sex on you, and your testimony was, I believe, something to the effect that he knew what he was doing. Is that right?
Yes.
And without getting too graphic, if you will, what gave you that impression?
It would be
Well,
days long.
He had bragged about it prior to that.
You know, you
somewhat.
might actually have a 50 Shades of
That
Grey
he had studied the female
book.
anatomy.
You could actually make your
And
own Amazon book and
so
it probably
even though I wasn't expecting
Need
him to go
some
that far
sexy
that
books
night,
out there.
once they did, it was
Good
obvious
content.
that, to me, that he knew what he was doing. I mean, I've had other intimate relationships in the past, so I was able to make a comparison in my mind.
Okay.
Can't take him seriously in his funeral suit.
Now,
I know. Normally, we're seeing him in like purple and pink and green.
was there ever a point in time that he ever compared your sexual skills with those of other women?
Objection, Amos.
Oh, God.
Approach, please.
Okay. Well, number 7. See, this is just, I think this is how he's doing it. Sidebar number 7. In an hour and a half, we've had 7 sidebars. And they haven't been short ones. They've been fairly substantial.
Yes.
Yeah.
Overruled.
I just would not have focused on this. This
Yeah.
makes her look terrible. It's obviously something that the state wanted to bring out. And while I wouldn't have, ignored it, I would have just not drawn attention to it. You can't gloss over. Why am I, the non-lawyer, better at strategery than Mr. Lawyer Man?
Sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees right in front of you, and he might be too close on this. He's also battling Jodi. Remember, Jodi and him are fighting like cats and dogs in the background.
So you're saying
surrounding
you
this trial.
can't chloroform your client
No,
for their own good?
No. 50 Shades of Boring Vanilla Smexy Times with 2 Idiots. Yeah, that's the book that would be generated from this. We have about another 15
Do you remember the
minutes or
question?
so.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Okay. Yes, meaning he did compare your sexual skills to those of other women.
Yes.
Objection, that's the answer. I mean,
Overruled. That answer will stand.
Did he ever
Your
compare
kids are awesome.
parts of your anatomy to those of other women?
objection, Amos. So,
Overruled. You can answer yes or no.
Yes, he does on the sex tape.
Now, you brought up the sex tape. That's a reference to the phone call you recorded at his behest on May 10th, 2008.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what they're trying to
A lot
do.
was brought up there. So before we get into that a little more specifically, I want to talk about your prior sexual history, because that was talked about a little bit during your cross-examination. Do you remember that?
Yes.
One of the issues that came up is your history, if you will, for lack of a better word, with anal sex. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Ooh, we're getting to the saucy stuff.
And one of your
The vanilla ice cream
partners,
with a little bit of
one of
chocolate.
your first relationships we heard throughout your testimony was with someone named Bobby Juarez, right?
That's right.
Okay. And in fact, there was a point in time where you were living with him and sexually active with him, right?
Yes.
And if memory serves, you would have been about 17.
Yes, I was almost 18.
And he was a few years older than you?
Yes, 3 years older than me.
Okay. One of the things that came up was the idea that you had engaged in anal sex with Mr. Juarez. Do you remember talking about that with Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
In this regard, was this anal sex something you did on a frequent basis with Mr. Juarez?
No, it was something we tried once, maybe twice. I think just once.
50
Okay,
Shades
something
of
that you
Bacon.
tried once or
Yes,
twice
so much better.
throughout the course of your entire relationship.
Yes.
Okay.
Why are we
And-
talking about?
As it relates to Matt McCartney, that would have been your next significant relationship. I believe, if I understood you correctly, you testified that you never had anal sex.
Is there a way to make the topic of smexy time in various orifices more boring than this defense attorney's presentation? Is there a way?
If you
to make
got
it
a
more
less,
boring?
if you got Elizabeth Warren and Liz Cheney to talk about it,
Now we're getting.
if you got the women of the View to talk about it,
Okay. All right. Yeah. But then it's not
I-
so much boring. It just turns into like the most annoying sound ever, and you tune it out.
yeah, I think
Sex
I
with
think the
Matt
entire human race would cease to exist because no one would ever want to have sex again.
McCartney. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I'm sending Whoopi an email.
And as it relates to Mr. Brewer, a 3.5 to 4 year relationship, right?
Yes,
Was there anal sex involved in that relationship?
I want to say one time, I think, maybe twice, but I can only remember one specifically.
What
So
did you?
based on that, it was certainly not a regular part of your repertoire with Mr. Brewer, right?
I'm sorry.
Definitely not.
Did
She's
you
an
go to
HRA
sleep and
specialist.
did you fall asleep and wake up with it, magically there a couple times too, because, sleepwalking and such?
No, she said as much. She said as much. We had a whole poll, and 69% of the ladies said that they wouldn't mind it.
Dave, why? I listened to the most terrible, smexy stuff in audiobooks that I would cringe and die so hard if my, earbuds failed in the middle of Walmart.
Oh,
But
they were
this
talking
is
when she
killing
talked
me.
about the whole like completion on the face and throwing candy at her. Some of my chat was listening to it like very loudly walking through the grocery store.
And Mr.
Oh,
Brewer
dear God.
would have been the sexual partner that directly preceded Mr. Alexander, right?
Yes,
Okay. So at the time, and just for clarity's sake,
Well, what are you
You would
listening to when
had-
you're walking through Walmart?
these relationships with these men, are these Mr. Brewer and Mr. Juarez? Are they the
Semi-shirtless
only
men
people you
novels.
ever, prior to Mr.
Duh.
Alexander, had anal intercourse with?
yes,
So based on what you've told us in your testimony, before you met Travis in your sexual history, you would have had anal sex no more than 4 times. Is that accurate?
that's accurate.
Okay.
Valhalla, why would I want to talk to people in Walmart?
So Ellie has a question. All these poor bastards are doxxed in court. If someone is mentioned in court like this, do they need permission or written statement? Nope, because this is a public proceeding, and they are, as the court has decided by allowing questions and testimony about it, necessary witnesses, and that is it. We have open courts for the protection of the defendants in the system at whole, and if you're wrapped up in it, you're wrapped up in it. That's why I said the poor guy after the fact that Jodi went and saw him, like he doesn't know who he's dealing with. They've chatted a few times or whatever, and she unalives Travis and goes straight over there. Just it is what it is.
Now, when you started engaging in sexual activity with Mr. Alexander, we've heard how part of that included anal sex, correct?
Yes, well, not in the beginning.
Right, not the beginning, but we heard about the first instance, of anal sex occurring after your baptism, right?
That's right.
Okay. And
Half
that
Irish,
was
you
not
are
anything
old. You are
you asked
age of
for,
majority, right?
Is that anything you asked
So
for?
it's not made for juveniles.
No, I didn't ask for that.
Was lubrication used during this encounter?
Not to my knowledge. I think he might have spit on his hand, but I didn't see. I just kind of was dealing with what I was
Let's
using.
crap. They didn't even use
And
holy
you
oil
described this,
right
Wait,
after
what?
baptism. I'm sorry, there's something just so terrible about this whole thing. I cannot
There's
even-
a lot terrible about this whole thing.
But the whole thing is so sickening. Okay, this particular situation in this layer of shit sandwich is hilarious. Like, she gets baptized in this uber holy, special holy water of God underpants, like giving herself to Jesus. And they go to the back. And then there's not even lubrication. And now she's talking about it in front of her parents and his parents and God and the poor court reporter.
Yep.
This
All of
surrealism
her
is
shame.
hilarious.
All of her shame is
And
on
I might
display.
be a little tipsy. So it's even funnier.
It was a holy
Not that he's dead.
baptism. It was a holy baptism. Yes, he baptized her. She got baptized twice. That's really what it was.
Encounters being painful to you, if I recall. Is that right? Was this a painful encounter for you?
Yes, it was painful that time.
Now, I asked that because one of the things that you talked about with Mr. Martinez is your sex life with Mr. Alexander. And you had said a comment that you enjoyed it, it was mutual. Something to that effect on several different occasions. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Objection, relevance. Why he's asking it. He said, I asked this because relevance.
I mean, there is a really simple rule, like stay away from anyone that talks like Jodi. I mean, in theory, waiting till marriage isn't really a bad thing. Although, like my wife says, you know, you probably should kick the tires a little bit before you
Your
buy the
sex
car.
life with Mr. Alexander.
Well,
And
yeah, I mean, someone
this-
should know what they're doing in general. I mean, at least
or you can
know where the
learn
feel.
together. You can learn together.
At least read some books. I mean, have a
Does-
general
Does
idea of
Penthouse count
geography.
as a book?
No,
No?
it doesn't. No, read a smexy female book because Penthouse, 2 paragraphs. Smexy girl books, several chapters. Women need chapters, men need paragraphs. There's a damn difference.
And this is his attorney. Yes, or her attorney. Yes, this is her attorney trying to redeem her testimony. Trying to redeem.
Sustained.
I don't know if it's working. You guys let me
He's
know.
doing a great job.
I'm gonna put a poll up.
She's
You
been
made
Be a little
comments
more
about
appropriate.
enjoying your sex life with Mr. Alexander and saying that it was mutual. Do you remember
white
doing
next
that?
time or
Yes.
tomorrow. And phrasing, I know. But she should be wearing white tomorrow.
When you talk about enjoying it, was that
Fine men,
physically
pictures.
enjoying it?
Women need
Yes, it was
chapters.
physical, most of the time, yes.
Sometimes or all the time?
Not all the time, but more than sometimes.
There were some instances,
I
though,
was giving you men
you
credit,
just told us
on it.
that it was painful, correct?
Yes.
Oh my God, can we stop talking about her anus? I don't want to ever
That
hear about her
painful
butthole ever
interaction on
If
the
you
day
want
of your
to, if
baptism,
you would like to examine it for yourself, there are photographs
that-
on my Discord.
enjoyable to you? And on any level?
You know, some of us are visual learners.
That particular segment was not enjoyable at all.
You also mentioned
Yeah,
that
it would. It would. It really would.
there were times, you just testified that there were times that it wasn't, physically pleasurable. On those times when it wasn't
David.
physically pleasurable,
How do I
Did you get
file a
something
civil
else?
action lawsuit? I have been emotionally harmed by having to hear about her anus.
I know you want to sue her for having to listen all about her anus.
No, I want to sue the entire state. I
Oh,
believe that it was
okay.
gratuitous. I believe it wasn't relevant to the case. I believe it was overdone, overblown. I believe it hurt everyone in their soul. I mean, it was hilarious, but I do believe I have suffered current traumatic stress and I need all the monies. So, how do I make Arizona pay?
Could you vocalize your moans?
Yes, it did.
what was that?
It made me feel good to make him feel good. And also when I was making him feel good, he had all of his attention focused on me. So I feel like it was still, you know, like a trade-off kind of. I mean, like I like the way I felt when he was focused on me that way. And I like the way I felt when I could make him feel good, if that makes sense.
Go
Okay.
take the dog out.
Well, let's try to
I don't know.
make a little more sense out of that with one of the encounters. You told us that there were occasions when you would come out into the porch, nude, perform oral sex upon him, and he would ejaculate on your face. Remember
Yes.
telling us about that?
Yes.
That's not the word you use,
Was
though.
that physically pleasurable to you?
I wouldn't say there was any physical pleasure that I derived from it.
So talking about what you told us just a moment ago, what kind of pleasure did you get out of it? Is that the pleasure of pleasing him? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, it had been a fantasy he'd had for over a year that I had known him. And so it was something that we hadn't fulfilled in the past
Lefty.
and we're able to do it now based on the configuration of the porch of the house that I lived in.
Okay. You also, when you were asked about this sex you had with Travis, you made the comment on direct that you felt like a used piece of toilet paper. You recall that?
This
Yes,
is
that
very
was
vital,
that one
helpful
time during the
testimony.
baptism.
I agree,
During
C-Sweat.
baptism. But there was also kind of a, maybe not that exact comment, but a similar comment you made when you were driving home from Ehrenberg. Do you remember that?
Yes,
Are you guys not able to see the new poll question? The question is Jodi's testimony being rehabilitated? Yes or no? It's simple enough. There's nothing wrong with that one.
What was your mindset there in terms of the sexual activity?
well, my mindset didn't really develop until after a few days of him not contacting me or returning any of my attempts to contact him. I drove away kind of with a little bit of a sinking feeling because he wasn't very affectionate when we parted, just kind of blah.
Lightning
sort of checked
strikes.
out.
I got lightning going around
Um,
about me. I'm in
So I
a
thought maybe
tree.
he's just tired. And just as the days began to go by, the whole weekend went by and I didn't hear from him until Tuesday night. So by that point, I thought that I'd just been really done.
And
I
that
got
was, and I
storms
think I
coming.
used the wrong explanation. That I believe you testified to that you felt used like a prostitute on that occasion, right?
It kind of reminded me of that, yes.
But that, you weren't feeling that way while the activity was taking place, but only afterwards when you were driving home. Is that?
Yes, after I just sort of reflected on it and how it all came about.
This is to rehabilitate her? Yes.
I just,
Excellent.
Yes, that's the point.
I don't think
All
that
this
word
sexual-
means what he thinks
continued
it
sexual
means.
interaction after you broke up. And even after January of 2008,
There's like 13%. Okay, so there's 31 votes. 13% is yes. Yeah, that was Salvador and like Malcolm or something.
was motivated
That was
based on what you've told us
Sal and
on
his
two
alt
things.
account,
There was
not
a
Sal.
sexual component to it. Is that accurate? A physical component to it, I should say.
Will you start over? I'm sorry.
Sure. The sexual activity you had with
audacity.
Mr. Alexander after you broke up that continued all the way until June 4th, there was a physically gratifying component of.
How would we sum up the Jodi Arias-trial? Well, Travis Alexander, he pumped and dumped a gal who had never been dumped. She snapped and unalived him. I feel like that is very accurate.
That
I don't
is
even know if we
very
need to add
succinct. That's
Yeah.
like a Cliff Notes and a Wikipedia all in one.
Yeah.
That on most occasions, right?
Yes,
And there was a seemingly always, whether it was physically gratifying to you or not, an emotionally satisfying component to you for making him happy. Is that right?
yes.
Okay.
Salvador, you're losing. You're only down
Was
to
there
11%
any
now
other
in the poll.
reasons why you continued to have sexual relations with him after you broke up?
Well,
It's called shame and regret.
after I walked in on him,
But she was asked for the reasons.
She's explaining the reasons, Judge.
Explain the reasons.
okay.
That's what they're
There weren't
trying
any other
to.
reasons prior to January 21st, 2008, but there were after that. And the reason was I was under the impression that he felt more satiated and he felt more normal when he had just more adult interactions, if that makes sense.
He
This
felt
is the
more
grossest
satiated
thing.
when they had more adult interactions.
No, this is the grossest and most disgusting thing that she did, claiming that he might have been a map. I mean, that is the grossest and most disgusting thing.
Yes, that's worse. But there's absolutely no evidence to support that whatsoever. She just
Yeah.
threw that out there.
Yeah, it's
and-
well,
And claimed that he bought her Spider-Man underwear or something like that. And it's like, okay, well, remember Charlie's Angels with
yeah, it was right around that time.
yeah, I mean that's a thing. And I still think it's a thing where the ladies like to wear that stuff for their guys. The guys like it. Is this lawyer still practicing? No, he wrote a tell-all book and surrendered his law license. And the prosecutor's no longer practicing either, but for unrelated reasons. So, all right. Do you want to read Yamaha's poem?
Oh, no, I do not. But
Your ass is so nice. My ass is so nice. My ass is so sweet. If you don't love me, your life I delete. I like that.
just because, if I have to, my kids, if I have to, run for something like school board, unfortunately.
Brandon, welcome to the chat. Haven't seen you since yesterday afternoon.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, well, that's where we are going to leave it today. We are about halfway through day 26, so we'll be able to pick right back up on Tuesday. Remember, on Tuesdays and Saturdays at noon Eastern time, 6 p.m. Swedish time, Nick and I, Nick today being played by Mo in the deep end, are restreaming of this trial. We have, I think, day 29 is the last day that Jodi is on the stand, so we have several more days. We also have 2 full days of jury questions, which I'm looking forward to. Apparently, they had over 200 questions for her. If you guys want to play a game, maybe we can organize this. We're going to start. It'll be probably just after Christmas or right around Christmas. I'm trying to think of how many streams we have. It sometimes depends.
Okay.
Is when we're going to get to the jury questions. And we've done this thing during closing arguments where we do sort of a bingo thing. And maybe we can do a bingo version of the jury questions for Jodi Arias. What questions do you think they're going to be kind of asking, or what things do you think they're going to ask about? And if you want to make some suggestions for the bingo cards, drop them in or just whatever. Get them to me somehow, or probably more appropriate, get them to Jung. So we can get those together, because she always puts our bingo cards together. I think that'll be fun for the jury questions.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be a good time. But I don't think this is at all rehabilitating her testimony in any way, shape, or form. I think it's definitely adding to our entertainment of the trial. And it looks like 86% of you agree that it is not rehabilitating her at all. Jodi Arias bingo. Yes, we will do that. And we'll do it, between the 2 streams. The way it works is we give you a link to a website. You get a card identification. So you're going to have like a stream up and then another device to plug away at the cards. And then when the things come up, hit the button. And if you get a bingo, well, we'll come up with some sort of prize or something. So that's how we'll do that. We'll get that set up. I think that'll be fun. And that'll be right around the holidays, so that'll be a good time we'll just kick back and watch some Jodi and play some bingo.
Sounds like a plan.
I'm sure Nick will be on board with it.
Yeah.
Bingo's always fun. We're going to do bingo for some of the closing arguments coming up, but these cases have been kind of quick, so we'll do a Jodi Arias. It'll give us some time to put it all together. BL Blazy, how do you join Discord? Well, you have to be a member of MLS. So if you become a member of my channel, then you can go to the member tab where there's a link to my Discord. All of my member content is in Discord, except for a few videos of me failing to run a half marathon. But that's how you get in there. It's a perk for members. But you don't have to be a member in order to play bingo, because that would be unlawful. You don't have to pay anything to participate. We'll make them available. But if you do want to get access to a lot of the cases that we cover, other documents, as well as notifications and stories regarding the cases that Mo covers, or Nick, or Broken Bacon, and Flux, and a bunch of people, it's all in my Discord. So there's a lot of stuff. That's about it. That's all I have for today. It's been a wonderful Jodi stream.
Yeah, we got to learn. I have current traumatic stress per my, loosely affiliated legally retained lawyer, Dave, and I'm fighting a class action lawsuit. I really am, because holy crap, if I have to hear one more time about her butthole.
There's also Jodi nudes. Yes, we have cookies and nudes. We have cookies and nudes in my Discord.
Yes.
Farrell provides the nudes. But she also provides wonderful content like this with her little
Yes.
But thank you all very
clips
much.
of all of LawTube doing fun stuff.
She's got a clip channel too. So you guys should check out Pharrell. Although I don't know if she's still doing it.
Oh.
She's got a new job and she's like,
Oh, yes.
anyways.
I can understand.
Oh, that's right. Valhalla is painting with Diva tomorrow at 3 p.m. I am going to be MIA tomorrow. You guys will not see me. It is my wife's birthday, so I am going to go do all that stuff. You guys probably won't see me much, but I'm going to catch that on the replay because I want to see how good of a painter Valhalla is. I have a feeling he's better than most would expect. That's just my gut instinct. Happy birthday, Mrs. Helm. I will let her know that you have wished her happy birthday. And yeah, that's about it. Well, thank you very much, Mo, for standing in for Nick. And
I'm working on my beard, but you know,
you have all those wigs. You could just put one on upside down, right? Is that how that works?
I already sacrificed the blonde one, which I would never have worn, to the mullet. So
okay. All right. Fair enough. You all have a good rest of your day. You will be redirected if you're on Nick's stream and my stream. Both redirected over to Salvador. Tell him I said hi. We'll see you guys then. Bye.
Bye, guys.